We're back. You're watching the Jersey City Show. Now my guest is the mayor of Jersey City, my buddy, Mayor Steve Fulop. Mayor, there he is. We definitely
How
got to
are
get
you?
you a desk lamp.
I'll get one here. Let me see if I can move over here. All right, good.
A little dark side of the moon going on there, but we hear you, we see you. How you doing, Mayor? You had a situation over the weekend. Well, not over the weekend. Was it? Yeah, I guess it was Sunday night, right?
Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday.
Or was that Sunday? Can you take me through what happened there, too? To what degree you can?
No, I mean, I can. Look, my wife and I came home at Sunday at around 6:45, and I was bringing something into the basement, and she went upstairs to go do some work at the computer. And being that it was like 6:45, I still was going to walk the dog, and I was bringing something into the basement. I didn't. You closed the door, of course, but I didn't deadbolt it or turn on the alarm. I was inside the house at that point. I went downstairs. The next thing happened. This woman who you read about wandered into the house. She put her stuff down in, a bag and some stuff down in our bedroom, and then she proceeded upstairs to the fourth floor where like my wife was working, and my wife turned around and there was this woman there. So look, there's a lot of I think mental illness issues going on there, and you hope that she gets the help that she needs.
What happens when Jackie turns around and sees this woman in her bedroom?
Obviously she was scared. I mean, she didn't know this person, and the person asked, "Is Steven here?" And then she obviously got alarmed because she said she realized that I didn't let the person into the house, and so and then the person proceeded, like as the police report said, that she starts to say that she's done some bad things to people, particularly my wife, and my wife was obviously even more scared. In some ways, I'm thankful that this person wasn't carrying any sort of a weapon or anything worse didn't happen. But we're going to obviously change security around my house, both how we approach it, kind of inside and outside, and thankfully nobody got hurt is the part that I'm most thankful for.
Well, look into the Arlo security system I mentioned to you before.
Yeah, you did. You were like one of the first people to reach out, actually, with recommendations on changing security.
We had the Arlo in my kid's house in Seaside. I installed it myself, and I'm not kidding you, Steve, in like 10 minutes. It's all wireless, and every system handles up to five cameras. And it's really a good service. And it has the motion detectors, night vision. I'm doing a commercial for Arlo here, but it's a good system. And a techie guy like you could probably install it in less than the 10 minutes.
So I'm going home later today and I have a meeting with some people that do alarm systems to kind of revamp that from kind of an outside and inside house standpoint. But look, obviously it was very scary for my wife in particular, and anytime there's a stranger in your house, and I'm hopeful that Stephanie gets the help that she needs.
How fast did you get from the basement up to the fourth floor?
Fast, but I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was happening.
Decathlon training.
My wife was surprised because, like, truthfully, like I wouldn't have known, she wouldn't have known that the person was in the house. Like, it was the way that that office where she does work is situated is that the computer kind of is you're facing a wall, so and you have your back to the stairs, so she wouldn't have known, and I certainly would have known because I was just doing something in the basement. So thankfully, like I said, nobody got hurt, and I'm hopeful that she gets the help that she needs.
Do you feel comfortable at home now after what happened, after a home invasion?
I deal with a lot of people, as you do, in a lot of different circumstances, and I think sadly there's a lot of people that have all sorts of a range of issues, and you deal with all those people and you interact with people, and I've had different circumstances where people have been aggressive or unreasonable or have acted in ways that I felt like were inappropriate. But, after doing this job in the council and as mayor for 12 years now in total between the two, you kind of get accustomed to it. Never would I expect that somebody would come into my home. So, it's a lesson learned for me. I'm going to be certainly more careful, as is Jacqueline. But like I said, I'm just thankful nobody got hurt.
No, that's the main thing, and nothing violent happened there.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something more entertaining, I will say, because this is more personal. I don't like doing personal. I never get into the personal lives of the politicians. So let's do what you and I do best: politics.
Yeah, sure.
In the last 3 weeks, there has been a political skirmish that has occurred, reminiscent of our old buddy Glenn D. Cunningham and Bob Menendez back in, I guess that's 2002, is it?
Yeah, I was in Iraq when that was happening, so I didn't really know about it, and I didn't know how it started or what caused it. I came back and obviously was asked to run for Congress, more because of the whole Democratic ticket, but I didn't know how that started at the time. But I suppose that if you say it's similar, you're more of a historian than I am, so I suppose that that's accurate.
It started over the county exec seat. It was Bernie Hartnett.
All right, so there you go.
That's how Tom DeGeese got there. Tom DeGeese at that time was out of politics. The war was brewing between Glenn Cunningham and Bob Menendez, and I don't want to. It's the best way to describe it, I guess, is Menendez took Tom DeGeese off the political scrap heap and put him in the race for county exec, and they prevailed, and he's been the exec ever since. Now, don't you have a Mayor Man comic behind you somewhere?
Yeah, just showed it to you. It's coincidence. I do have it here, and we didn't plan for that, and it was just kind of like circumstances here that we do have this from back in the day. Let's see here if I can get this.
Everybody see it? There it is, Mayor Man.
Yeah.
The Glenn Cunningham playbook.
No, look, I'm looking at this thing less of kind of from a political standpoint. I'm not interested in the patronage there, not interested in the jobs, not interested in any of that component which Tom DeGeese has mentioned. And all I'm interested in is a better work product out of that office. That's it. And a better partner and somebody more engaged in kind of transformational government. That's really it, ultimately. And so the conversation that started with Tom DeGeese was not supposed to lead to kind of where we are today. The conversation was us just being upfront and saying, hey, it's been a good run for 16 years that he's been in that office. You asked for our support, and we want to be upfront with you. We want to say that you asked for this, and this is kind of what we think about it. And let's make a kind of decision then together on how to transition based on what you said. And then it kind of went in a different direction to where we are today. So unfortunately.
Let's break for commercial. Then we'll come back and we'll discuss that direction it went. And you can read up on Mayor Man there, and we'll be right back.
Okay,
watching
perfect.
The Jersey City Show. We're going to break for commercial. We're back. We're back with the mayor of Jersey City. We had a little technical glitch there, so we kind of had to restart again. Getting back to the political skirmish. You got a little rehearsal on this, Mayor. Getting back to the political skirmish. With Tom DeGeese, what was the tipping point that made you decide you had to go in a different direction, that there had to be a change after DeGeese being the county exec, I guess 16 years now? What caused that point that you said, I got to go in a different direction?
A couple different things. I can't point to one action. It was more of kind of a culmination of a lot of different things. And I think that the best example is when somebody says to you, hey, I'm not really interested in running unless it's kind of a fait accompli and I have unanimous support. It kind of shows that, they're not interested in that, fight for the job, reforming government, improving every single day. They're interested in just kind of being there. People will have me. And for me, I kind of want to see us kind of pushing hard to change and constantly thinking about ways to improve county government, municipal government. So it wasn't one thing. It was kind of a culmination of a lot of things. And after 16 years, I think change is healthy.
How did you and Bryan come to the decision that you had to go in a different direction? Who approached who first? Did you approach Bryan about a different direction on the county exec, or did vice versa?
Conversation with Bryan and I was more about timing on delivering the message. I mean, Bryan and I shared the sentiment that we wanted to change and we thought it was healthy for the county. What good would it be to change political leadership in the county if nothing else changes? It's just kind of a ceremonial thing then. And if you're serious about escalating and elevating Hudson County's presence politically and governmentally, then that includes change. And so we both agreed that the county executive was kind of a good starting point, being that it was up next year. I think the difference between Bryan and I was about how and when to deliver that message. I was an advocate for doing it up front, to doing it early. And the reason being is I thought that's the best way to be with people. You say clearly and decisively, once you make a decision, that this is what we're doing, and you go from there. There's also an argument, and people ask, well, why don't you wait till after the chairman's vote or later in the year? And I thought that being that Bryan and I already knew how we both felt, and we spoke to some of the other mayors, why wait? What's the benefit to that? It's misleading, and I didn't think it was the right thing to do.
Did either one of these situations cause a tipping point, Nick Sciabollotti getting to position at the community college, or Vinny Pietro receiving a position at the New Jersey Sports and Exhibition Authority?
No. And let me start with the county college in Nicholas. My view on jobs at the county or the county college is that, that's the responsibility of them, meaning the people there, to find the best qualified candidates for those positions. 99.9999% of the jobs that happen up there, I have no idea who gets fired, who gets let go, who gets hired. It doesn't come across my desk. I don't know, I can't speak for other mayors, but certainly I'm not engaged in that. With regard to Nicholas and the county college specifically, I did express some disappointment to the county because, that is the second most senior position at the county college. We all have high goals and big visions for the county college. And I think that when you fill those prominent positions, you should do big searches and try and attract the best talent. It shouldn't just go to some political person. And I did express that. I wouldn't say that that was the cause of where we are today by any stretch. I would say that that was just another example of where I think change could have been helpful. Regarding Vinny Prieto, Vinny Prieto's been an absolute gentleman. I have a great relationship with him, and him going to the Sports and Exposition Authority, I think, is actually a benefit for Hudson County. I don't think if he was the chairman for Hudson County still going forward, it wouldn't change anything. I'd still be advocating for change at the county executive front. So those two things are not linked.
What do you think the end game to all this is? Because you and Bryan are being portrayed as the instigators of a Hudson County political war. Again, reminiscent of Glenn Cunningham, Bob Menendez.
We're the instigator and pushing for change and progress. And I think those two things are in the best interest of every resident of Hudson County and Jersey City. And that's what we're pushing for. And what's the end game? The end game is going to be progress and reform. That's where we're going. And, we're going to ask the voters next year to support a different vision for county government. And hopefully the voters sign up.
With the rhetoric that is being distributed here in Hudson County, when all is said and done politically, and there will be a different county exec, of course, how do you see the political temperament here in Hudson County, from North Hudson to South Hudson? Because there is a difference once you get past the coach house. The coach house is the DMZ. There's a different world, North Hudson, and a different world, South Hudson. When this is all said and done, where is Fulop? Where is Stack? Where is Sacco? Where is Turner? Where are you all on the HCDO?
In June for the chairman's vote?
Well, I mean, going past the chairmanship, how do you heal all the wounds that have been inflicted, or some still to be inflicted?
My hope is that it doesn't become personal. I know Tom DeG said some things that were, more personal attacks towards me, and I didn't respond to it because I've tried to be really disciplined and not going down that road. To me, my hope is that the campaign doesn't get to a place where it's irreparable, with any of those people that you met. We have one sole agenda, which is really change at the county government. I think that we could get a better product, whether it's at the jails, whether it's in taxes, whether it's in basic services and or duplicate services. And that's what we're going to push for. I am not going to go down the road of saying anything disparaging about Tom DeGeese personally, just saying that I think change is healthy.
What about the comment from Albie Oh series?
Recent
Fundraiser.
Again, it's unfortunate that a lot of these people have been there for a long time, go down the personal route, but they feel threatened. It's kind of been the status quo for a long time. A lot of these characters have been there for 20, 30 years, and I get it. They might feel threatened in this situation, but I think when you look at the merits of the argument that we're saying and we're going to make next year with regards to a better county product, I think that most of the residents are going to say, hey, I kind of agree with that point. You can do better on these certain things, and ultimately that will help my pocketbook.
Well, before we move on to the subject that is near and dear to you, Jersey City and Jersey City government, your situation with Bob Menendez. What is your relationship with Bob Menendez? Because it was reported in Al Sullivan's column that you're dead to him. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard you've heard the same tension. What is your relationship with the senator?
Why am I dead to him? I didn't read Al Sullivan's column on that, but maybe expand a little bit for me.
Well, supposedly you were looking to replace him when he was on trial. You allegedly were making phone calls, which was news to me. I didn't hear any of the phone calls that you were making or anything like that, but supposedly he has an issue with Bob Torricelli and yourself.
Okay, so let's roll that back a second, okay? I made, when Bob Menendez was standing trial and going through that kind of difficult time, I raised money for him for his reelection and his legal defense fund. We'll start there. And then secondly, he probably did more events in Jersey City with me during that time period as a senator to make sure that he's standing with people and moving the ball forward than I think in any other municipality in the state of New Jersey. I've always been a supporter and continue to be a supporter on that. I think sometimes, people around the state of New Jersey think it's easy to kind of single me out because, I'm younger than most of them that have been around for a long time, and I'm outside of that typical political structure that they've been around. So, sometimes and often I end up being the one who's blamed for a lot of things that happen around the state of New Jersey that I'm actually not involved in. I was at his campaign kickoff last week. I'm a supporter of Senator Menendez. I'm going to continue to be a supporter of Senator Menendez. And I think all the other stuff is just noise and frankly irrelevant to what I'm trying to do here.
Well, before we get to the city of Jersey City, one of the things that was asked of me is, do you think Bryan Stack and Steve Fulop succeed in this war with the HCDO and the county government? And my response was, well, each one of these guys have at least 20 years left. Fulop, if he wants, maybe 30 years left. The rest of these guys, they're basically dinosaurs looking at the sky at the meteor saying, oh, what's that? You're going to be around. You'll win just by attrition. You'll be here when the rest of these guys are all retired.
I mean, look, I feel pretty comfortable in the fact that when we make our argument next year that, the voters are going to be sympathetic to the point of view that we're going to convey. Like, I feel pretty good about that. And we're going to do it based on the merits of the argument on better government. And then we're going to deliver on that. And that's where we are. I feel pretty comfortable with that. And, I'm engaging in this, knowing that I think that it's going to be a positive outcome for the county.
All right, let's finish with the politics and let's go. Well, let's break for commercial. Then we're going to go with the redo, rebound, your city budget, all the things that is near and dear to you. We're going to break for commercial, and we'll be back with the mayor of Jersey City, Steve Fulop. We'll be right back. We're back. You're watching the Jersey City Show. Let's bring our guest back, the mayor of Jersey City, live by webcam from City Hall. Welcome back, Mayor. Now, forget all the politics. Let's go into our wheelhouse here. You're proposing doing a redo, rebound.
No, that's I said at the last town hall meeting that we're not doing it because, my initial plan was to do a second rebound next year once the market became a little bit disrupted, and then we'd get kind of true values based on the taxes. The council members, the majority of them indicated to me that they weren't looking to do that. And being that there's no support there, we're not going to do it. I mean, this is a government that we work with our council members. If people aren't engaged in it, we're not going to do it. So it's not happening. We take that off the board.
All right, we take that off the table. The budget, we're at $588 million.
Yeah.
The budget has gone up almost like $20 million a year since you've been the mayor.
Yeah.
When you're putting this together, is there a point you say, we got to start cutting this thing? How do we cut the budget?
Let me start by saying that it's not going up $20 million a year. That's a little bit misleading to frame it that way, because the last 5 years we haven't had a tax increase. You know, while costs go up, revenues go up at the same time. And it's important to understand that when you approach the new year every single year, the same way your household costs more to run, your energy costs more, your food costs more, your insurance costs more, your cost of goods costs more. It's no different in city government. All those things escalate per year the same way. And so in addition, you have mandated contractual raises for employees, pension costs, healthcare costs. So all of that stuff equates to coming in every single year in the hole, you know, $20 million. So, and then you figure out how to balance that budget via cutting, via finding additional revenue. If you think of, you know, $20 million out of a $580 million budget, as you say, you're talking about a very, very small percentage, but it's also important to understand why the budget operates that way.
Now, what was your first budget back in 2013? That was 470, was it?
I don't have it off the top of my head.
Well, it's 588, so it's gone up quite a bit. And you're right, there hasn't been a tax increase by the city of Jersey City, but we've seen, I don't even know what the rebound does to the county taxes. I'm not sure how that plays in on that.
Yep.
We got school taxes that's gone up, and just about almost every fee in Jersey City has gone up as you balance that budget, not to have a tax increase. But you haven't.
What fees have really gone up?
Tickets have gone up. Permit fees have gone up.
We actually took out stuff like there was a mandated every year cost of living adjustment at the MUA that went up every single year for the previous administration. We took that out. We eliminated a lot of costs and redundant services. You know, I think we're actually running a leaner and more efficient government. And then we've actually expanded services, whether it's police, whether it's fire, whether it's parks, whether it's working in partners and nonprofits and help funding them. So I would actually argue the other way around on that.
Well, when you try to cut the budget, if you can't cut it, you try to massage it more. And what we're doing, say the parking enforcement, you're proposing we go 24 hours citywide on that. I know the Heights has an ordinance going in for 24 hours.
The council is the one that proposed 24/7, and we're going to work with the council on that. It was part of an ordinance that they sponsored and passed last year regarding permit parking in the Heights.
That was strictly for the Heights, not citywide. Now, for the parking enforcement,
if you're hiring people, Pat, and they're going to be working overnight, you're going to enforce equally across the city. We don't, say there's one standard here and another standard there. We're going to try and enforce equally across the city. So when the council said we want to go to 24/7, we're going to do it uniformly across the entire city.
What is the cost of going 24/7? I agree with the 7. I'm not sure I agree with the 24, because that is putting on basically another shift, new supervisors, new equipment, updated equipment.
I believe the budget has, I think the budget has an additional $1 million in it for personnel to overnight shift and to buy some additional equipment, because we're going to obviously be expanding resources. So I think the entire thing costs $1 million extra. But
when you're doing your town halls, what is the public's reception to a 24-hour parking enforcement? I know it's an issue in the Heights.
I would probably say across the board, it's 50-50. It's really 50-50. Like you for every person that says, this is something that's good and long overdue, there's a person that says, I hate it. So it's, it's like any decision. There's people that like it and people that don't like it. And, we're working with the council. The council is the ones who asked for it, and we're working with them on it.
Well, why not just tweak the parking authority or parking enforcement to midnight and just let our regular JCPD do parking enforcement, not zone enforcement, looking at permit stickers and all, but, blocking the fire hydrant driveway sort of thing from 12 to 6.
The Jersey Police Department is pretty busy at night.
I understand that.
Yeah, we have gun issues and violence issues, and priority is making sure that residents feel safe. When we have a parking authority, and it's more efficient to have that parking division actually doing the parking enforcement. So you get more bang for your buck by doing it this way.
Well, my concern is that buck, it's millions so a year, plus we put predators out in the street overnight because they got to write tickets. That's what parking enforcement's all about.
No, it's no different.
And that's what people are concerned about.
No different than during the day. The best advice there is that we should do our best to park safely and legally.
Well, if you create some more parking, we can do that, Mayor. You're selling a lot of parking lots.
We're not selling any parking lots right now. We're actually building a parking deck, 2 of them actually. We have on plans in the city. We have one that's going to be on the next council agenda or the following agenda, which will be adjacent to the City Hall Annex for Ward F. And then we're building one on Central Avenue in the Heights, and that's kind of moving through engineering as well. So we're actually building 2 of them, Pat.
Well, you realize North Bergen has more municipal parking than Jersey City?
We try to find the balance of, of encouraging or dealing with parking and not encouraging it. So you also have to realize that 40% of Jersey residents don't own a car, and they really rely on mass transit. So you're kind of trying to think about ways to also better facilitate bikes and buses and trains and path and ferry, and not only thinking about cars. So we try to balance that. And,
I see a ton of cars out there every day. I see a few bikes, and our mass transit isn't anything to brag about.
There's a lot of cars. I mean, there's no question about it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's also a lot of people, and not every person has a car.
Well, there's more people with cars than not. So that's why we need parking. But let's move on. I don't want to keep hammering away. With the changes that you're hoping what'll happen with the county, is there a way the city of Jersey City can receive some sort of a fee from the county of Hudson? Because as the county seat, they keep buying, Journal Square in particular, the county community college has bought up a tremendous amount of properties. We lose the ratables. We lost the ratables at 830 Bergen Avenue. We lost the ratables at County Plaza. We lost the ratables at the Freeholder Building. Wherever the county, and now you got the new courthouse coming, there is more ratables lost. How can we get, for lack of a better description, some sort of a VIG from the county of Hudson for all the lost ratables? Or can we get them to give us more services? Mayor.
Well, I think the conversation next year is going to be around how do we get more services and spend less money. And I think that's going to be the argument that we make to the public. Then you as a resident in this county is going to have a chance to vote on it. And the hope is that people vote for change. I think they will. So I think that what you just outlined is at the core of our conversation that's going to happen next year.
One other thing, and we'll let you go. Shared services between the city of Jersey City, the county of Hudson, the state of New Jersey, in another way to cut the cost of the city. In particular, let's look at Liberty State Park. If there was a shared service agreement between the state, the county, and the city to maintain that, that would be beneficial for everyone involved. If we had a shared services with the county, they could do some road repairs, they can do park repairs. There's a lot of duplication between the county and the city of Jersey City.
Yep.
How can we do more shared services wise?
I don't know if it's more shared or eliminating of redundant services. And I would say that, whether it's county or municipal services would probably depend on, what county you're in. If you look at Bergen County, where there's 70 municipalities in a county government, you probably want to look at consolidating some of those municipalities and having a stronger county government. In a place like Hudson County, where you have a little bit more than 10 municipalities and a county government, you probably want to put more of the emphasis on the municipalities. So I think you probably want to figure out how to eliminate layers of government, not just shared services. And I just want to say shared services don't always equate to reduced costs. That's a misunderstanding. Union City and I, we went out, Jersey City, Union City, for a joint bid for our garbage collection, thinking that the size and the scale in this region would get us better prices. And what we found out was that in something like garbage collection, it's actually cheaper to break up the contract into small parts, because when Union City and Jersey City bid on it together, there weren't a lot of vendors that had the resources or capacity to take up garbage for that entire area. They didn't have enough trucks. So we got less bidders and it became more expensive. If you really wanted to do it the most efficient way, you'd probably divide it up into different wards and smaller areas, so you'd have more bidders and more competition, which would lead to reduced costs.
No, actually, that actually makes sense. Is that what we're pursuing now?
I'm trying to make sense to you, Pat, over here on a lot of stuff. I mean, hopefully some of it registers, but are we trying to do that in the next contract? We're going to look at that for sure.
Well, it'd be good. Well, before I'll let you go on this.
The problem that has is that you got to manage 6 different, vendors in a place like Jersey City, or 6 different contracts, which is its own challenges. So I'm not going to say that it's not, but my point is that bigger doesn't necessarily mean cheaper.
And let's leave on this. What about the city taking over? At one time we used to pick up our own garbage. At one time we ran our own water department. We privatized so much over the last 20, 30 years.
The new business administrator is a believer that we could actually make money in doing our own garbage. And it's something that he's committed to looking at. So one of his projects that he's going to be working on in 2018 is exactly that.
Well, Mayor, I've taken up about a half hour of your time. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Always enlightening, sir. You be
Thank
good.
you.
I'll talk to you
too.
later. All right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you, Mayor Fulop. You're watching the Jersey